Hello, hello everyone. Um, Good afternoon, and hello to everyone joining me. Mental health check-in. How are you all doing? I'm going to attempt to do what they call pinning. Um, Hello. Okay, there we go. Just gonna check in. There we go. How are you all doing? You okay? Hi. There we go. Can I pin it? There we go. How are you all doing? You okay? Now, the pinning thing I'm going to try today. So bear with me a second. I'm hoping it's doing it. I doubt it is. All right. Good to see you all. Today is going to be an interesting one. We're going to be talking generally about mental health check-in. So, hi everyone. Thank you for joining me. There we go. So I'm supposed to hold it down and it'll pin. I doubt it. I can't see the pin situation going on, but we'll leave it there for now. Thank you for joining me. And if it's your first time, welcome. Welcome to the therapy hour. And every Saturday at 2 p.m., what I like to do, or what we like to do, is meet up at 2 o'clock, sit down, find a quiet space, a quiet spot, if you can, in order for us to be able to actually regulate and check in. Usually, sometimes we have a topic. Sometimes, like today, the topic is our mental health and how we can regularly check in, wherever that means. I'll touch on that in a little bit. My name is Nathaniel. For those that don't know, I'm a psychotherapist for the last 12 years. So started this about seven sessions ago now, in which I thought it'd be a great idea for us to have a regular therapy sessions like I do with my clients, and hopefully connect to people, and maybe people can get some benefit from it. So thank you for joining me if it's your first time. If it's not your first time, thank you for coming back. So I've had a few questions sent in already from yesterday. So thank you for those ones that sent the questions in. Thank you to those ones that have sent me direct messages in regards to certain topics they want to talk about, certain topics they want myself to cover in the therapy hour. So thank you for those ones. Some of those topics that have been suggested and requested, I'll be touching on in future sessions. But for today, I want it to be our general mental health. Okay, if you see some of my posts, I think a few days ago I made a post about gratitude is good mental health. And yesterday I sent out a video about what we're going to be touching on today. So like I said, today is about our mental health and what that means, and how can I regulate, how can I check in on my mental health in dealing with it in a way in which it doesn't become an issue down the line. So the point is about avoidance right now. By regularly checking things in, we're trying to do avoidant behavior to avoid us having issues in regard to our mental health. So thank you all for joining me. So if you've got any questions, or what I've been asked previously was this, that what if somebody wants to join me in a conversation on the live? Is that possible? Of course it's possible. In the last few weeks, we've touched on domestic abuse, and the feedback that I received from that has been so great that I'm hopeful that some people got something from it. Based on the messages I got, I'm hopeful that some people are making certain decisions, male and female, in regards to how they move forward. So if you recall last week, I touched on in the beginning of the sessions that if one person gets something out of this, then it will be worth it. And based on the feedback I got, direct messages, personal messages, and I appreciate the people that send me messages of a personal nature, because they're entrusting me with their information, and they're entrusting me knowing that confidentiality, as always, as in my profession, will be adhered to. There is no cutting corners on confidentiality. So what we do talk about, if you do want it to be confidential, you can trust that will be the case. If you do want to jump on the live and actually have one of those split screen, you ask the question, I'll answer it for you in the sessions, I think for today's session, we can accommodate that. I think today's session could be one in which you may feel comfortable in doing so. So if you rather type in your questions on the screen, I'll look at it. Or if you want directly to jump on, let me know. Behave yourselves. Let me know, and we'll be able to have a brief moment in which we explore the topic. Which, by the way, it means that I won't be aware of what your question may be, but I'm hopeful that I'll be able to delve into the bank that I have, and we'll be able to explore and find a way through to, to provide clarity if need be. All right. So thank you for joining me. And if you want to jump in, let me know, and I will press a button here which will make it go live or something. I don't know. It makes me sound so terrible now with technology right now. So let me jump in. So for today, for the mental health check-in, it is about how can I regularly ensure that my mental state is healthy. So how can I ensure that I regularly check that my mental health is secure, is in a good place? One of the things I would say in regards to that is we all know where we are in our minds at certain points, whether we want to acknowledge it or not. We know when we're having a tough time. We know when we're finding it difficult to be able to cope with certain events, certain life events, certain personal events, certain situations that we may find it difficult for us to be able to find a way out. And when we reach that block, sometimes we accept that block, and that block becomes our new normal. And what I mean by our new normal is, from time to time, we all experience things that if left unchallenged, if left undealt with, it becomes our new way of being. If we're unemployed for 5 years, it becomes our new normal, our new way of seeing the world and the way we see ourselves in the world. And it affects us mentally, because then we're changing. If we started off being very confident and certain events in life has affected us to the point in which certain titles that we connect with ourselves is no longer there. I'm a manager, I'm a psychotherapist, I'm a father, or I'm a son, I'm a boyfriend, I'm a girlfriend, whatever it may be that you connect with yourself. And for whatever reason, if you lose that and it's unchallenged, if you lose that and it's not explored, after a while, you habituate that situation. And after a while, that becomes your new view of yourself and your new view of the world. I hope that makes sense in regards to that. So what we want to do is find a way to, rather than let something sit, rather than let life's events, certain situations, rather than let that stop us, or rather than let that determine who we are now, what I suggest is having a regular check-in with yourself mentally. Regular check-in means regular conversations. Now, myself, I like to have conversations with myself. It doesn't look like, hey, how you doing, Nathaniel? You okay? Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. How are you doing? It's been a long day today. Yeah, I know, I saw. Or how are you dealing with it? I don't know, I'm finding it difficult to deal with. So what do you suggest? I think it doesn't work that way quite. However, it's not that far off. So one of the questions I've been asked is, and I think this question touches on the topic of today's session, which is, how do you cope with feeling overwhelmed? How do we cope with, there's a lot on me right now? And one of the things this person asked me was, what are the coping mechanisms of dealing with feeling overwhelmed? Now, how many of you have felt overwhelmed in the last few months, year? Present? Yeah, I'm here. Now, what I want us to be able to do is, I want us to be able to break things down in segments, and I'm going to touch on that. So answering the first question, what are the coping mechanisms of when you feel overwhelmed, right? Remote control in your hand, I want you to pause. Pause that moment. Pause whatever you're going through in that situation. All right? Let's pause it and let's step away from ourselves. What does step away from yourselves mean, Nathaniel? Because it sounds a little bit just like some flowery words, flowery phrase that you use in your profession. No. Step away from yourself means that in that moment of you feeling overwhelmed, those are your emotions that are speaking the loudest. In that situation, when you're feeling overwhelmed, everything around you is so loud, you are unable, in that situation, to see clearly. If I transported you away from that situation and you stepped away from yourself and you were looking at exactly the same view, but away from it, your vision will be clearer. Your rationale will be sharper. And your perspective may actually change. What does that mean? I'm going to step away from myself right now. And what I mean by that is pause. Before I react to anything, I'm feeling overwhelmed right now. Let me pause. And that is so difficult to do, but I want you to try it. Just pause. If it helps you doing this, it helps me. Because sometimes I just do a little, like I'm pressing a remote control and I'm pausing it. Let me just pause right there. So in that situation, I'm pausing. Now I step back and I've got a list of questions I want to ask myself. So one of the coping mechanisms is pause and step away from yourself. Step away from all the feelings, all the emotions, all the regurgitation of the frustration. I want you to step away from it. Trust me, things will become clearer once you do that. So let's pause it. Pause it means I'm going to stop all the noises coming in. The bills, potentially losing my job. How am I going to survive? What if this happens? What if that happens? This person needs this. I need to provide this. I'm responsible for this. I want this for my future. I don't know I'm going to get it. I'm a failure. I feel like a failure. What's going to happen? All of those are noises that are now permeating, not only through your eardrums, but they're permeating through your consciousness. And once they're there, they take over like it's their house. Feet on the table, you know what I mean? Cup down on the table with no coasters. We'll talk about that another time. They permeate through your consciousness and they take over. So what I want you to do, it's just a suggestion. Remember, I don't give advice. I just provide explorative paths that we can go on. I want you to remote control at hand. Everybody's got one. Where's my one? I can't even find where my one is. This pesky kids probably got it hidden somewhere. And just press pause. So when you press pause, you allow yourself a few seconds to step away from whatever that situation is, however big it is. By pausing it, we're closing the door to all the noises coming in from our lives. And if we take a step back, which is the next step, we can now clearly look at that situation a little bit differently. So let's pause, take a breath, feet planted on the floor, get yourself settled and centered. So when you're taking a step back, you're not taking a step back just to avoid, you're taking a step back just to soothe yourself. You know, soothe yourself could be something like this, or I do this a lot sometimes. Or sometimes now that the facial hair is coming in, like it just happened. I do this sometimes. We all have our own self-love language. You know, some people are tactile, some people like to hold themselves, some people like to squeeze themselves, some people just, you know, breathe, find themselves, you know. Like if you hear yourself breathing, imagine the beauty of it. That is every moment you hear yourself breathing. That moment is letting you know you're still alive. There's still a chance. Whatever's going to happen, I've still got an ability to be here to deal with it. That's how I interpret my breathing. Every time I take a breath, I am still here. I've still got a chance. Feet on the ground, planted. Calm yourself, as in position yourself in a comfortable position. And you take a deep breath. By taking a deep breath, I want you to focus on your breath. By focusing on your breath, you're not looking at or listening to the outside noise. You're not watching this. You're not listening to the sound of the self-doubt or the catastrophizing. of situations. If this happens, oh no, this is going to happen. If this happens, oh Lord, I'm going to lose everything. That's catastrophizing. You thinking every situation is going to be a catastrophe. And that's some ways that we think sometimes. And if that's the way you think sometimes, this technique will work perfectly for you. So pause it, take a step back, breathe, center yourself, soothe yourself if you need to. Whether it's Ribena is your drink of choice or something a little bit weaker like vodka, go for it. In in small bits now. I'm not advising you for you to go out and just do whatever. Center yourself. Feel yourself breathing. Feel the air breathe into you, reminding yourself that I'm still here. And as long as I'm still here, there's still a chance for me to change things. And once you've done that, then we can assess the situation. And by doing that, we've stepped away from ourselves. So our body is still there. The way we were, our sense of being overwhelmed is still there. Now we've stepped away from it. We can look at that. Let's look at the family. What's going on? And then you start asking yourself the questions. What am I feeling overwhelmed about? Because when we're overwhelmed about a change, something, an event. It could be an event in the future, or sometimes an event in the past that has found its way into our present. So if you do that, you can start asking yourself those personal questions in order for you to be able to minimize the effect. So if you guys want to give me an example of a situation that you may be going through or you may feel overwhelmed about, send it through and we can do a live exploration of that right now. But for me, feeling overwhelmed are some of the things I've touched on. The current state. The whole world is getting furloughed or losing their job, right? You've got responsibilities. You've got people relying on you. You've got your own dreams, aspirations, hopes, and plans. So some of those things could be feelings of being overwhelmed. Because when you think about all of them at once, it's like if we just bum rushed a room right now, heading through the door, most of us will get stuck. I may just won my way through, but that is what happens to us when we're feeling overwhelmed. All of those thoughts, in most cases, come in at the same time. Or one starts it and another one comes in and another one comes in. We start feeding on the negativity. So in that moment, pause, take a step back, breathe, center yourself, soothe yourself, and then explore rationally the situation or situations that are making you feel overwhelmed. And I want you to break it down, pen and paper. I want you to break it down. Like I've got my own little pad here. I want you to break it down by asking yourself the question, why am I feeling this way? Ask, when did it start? What is going through my mind that I am worried about, that I'm concerned about, that I'm stressed about, that I'm anxious about, that I'm fearful of? List them down. And then what I want you to do in that situation is I want you to challenge the hell out of every single thing you've written down. What does that mean? It means is if I tell you the sky is pink right now, somewhere in the world is pink. But if I tell you the sky is pink and you look out there and it isn't, challenge it. If one of your thoughts are, I'm going to lose my job, challenge that thought. Based on what? What are the factors that's making you feel that? And question it. Because remember, I think it was the first session I did here, or the second. Your emotions, your feelings are not always true. They are not always right. And if we're led by those emotions, then we'll be led down a path of negativity in some cases. It's a false dawn. So question even your emotions. In this situation, your emotions are feeding off your negative thoughts. So if you have negative thoughts about your future, your present, your situation, you start getting anxious, you start feeling worried. And when we're feeling low, our defenses are down. The defenses mean that our defense of confidence is down. We are less confident in that situation when we're feeling low. So when certain thoughts come in, They are more believable now because we are not fighting back at it. Our immune system is low. Our emotional immune system, our sense of self is low, unable to fight back those negative thoughts. So it becomes even more believable. But is it really real? Or is it based on your fears, creating emotions that you are now determining is fact? So when I say challenge it, question it. Question it. All right? So I hope that answers the question in regards to what a coping mechanism in dealing with that. Because someone asked when they sent me the message, they stated, it's not always appropriate for me to take time away or to do self-care or self-love. I'm not always in a position to say, oh, you know what, I'm going to take tonight for myself. Nobody talk to me. I'm going to take that time out. Because in most cases, some people are dealing with family responsibilities, work responsibilities, or just unable to connect to that. So in that situation, it's almost as if you're doing a mental exercise. Talk to yourself. Let me pause the situation. Let me take a step back. Let me soothe myself in this situation. And then let me explore, let me challenge all of those feelings and write it down and structure them. So then we'll be able to now understand why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. What are the reasons that have contributed to me feeling this way? How can I manage it? I can only manage it one issue at a time. The other issues will have to take a ticket and wait. So if we can deal with one issue at a time, it becomes more palatable. It becomes more digestible. And we can deal with it better. If I've got 10 things that's going on right now and I'm worried about all 10 of them, how am I going to be able to give my all and my best to be able to tackle an issue? I need to one at a time. All right? One at a time. So try and practice the way you look at things in that regards. When you feel other things creeping in, you're like, hold on a minute, I'm going to deal with you, but not right now. You are number 4 on my list, and I'm currently on number 2. So let me finish number 2, number 3, then it'll be your time. Be disciplined to deal with it that way. If you can, just practice and practice it and practice it. You know what? I'm feeling overwhelmed right now. Pause. I'm not going to engage in this anymore. Pause. Let me take a step back, away from it. Let me leave it there. This is the time for me to now breathe, feel myself, feel centered, soothe myself. Okay. Now, let me review this. Let me have a structure, a strategy of dealing with this. And let me list all the things that bother me, all the things that I feel overwhelmed about, and let me challenge them one by one. How real is this? Is this a smokescreen? Is this a dastardly magician wielding his wand at me? Let me question even my emotions. Definitely my emotions. Because my emotions and my feelings are not always true. I think most of you may agree with that. We react with emotions, and then after a while we look and say, hold on a minute. That's not actually factual. Because if you process it, you're like, well, I felt you were, based on what? I don't know. I was just feeling low and I thought you were having a go at me, or I thought you didn't care. Based on what exactly? So question it and challenge it. Okay? So, I think I've touched on that. The next question I've had in regards to mental health check-in is, what happens if you feel stuck in the same place? What happens if you feel that the future, the plans that you had for yourself, your positive outlook is no longer positive? You know, the bubbly character, the enthusiastic character is no longer there. What happens in that situation? How can you deal with that, Nathaniel, where you feel I'm stuck in the same place and I'm always looking over everywhere to see that everybody else seems to be okay except for me. Everybody else seems to be dealing with life better than I am. Everybody else is a success and I do not feel like that. Now,
I think I won't be alone in stating that I felt that way. I don't know about you, I can only speak for myself. I've also felt that, okay, the world is going around and around and I'm stuck in the same place. Stuck in the same place. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get out of this rut. You know, when I said a little bit earlier about when we're feeling that nothing is going to change, we're stuck in this situation. How can I improve my situation? How can I improve my life? I feel, in some regards, a failure. I feel my friends are blossoming, they're thriving, they're succeeding. And I'm comparing myself to them. And in comparison, I don't stand a chance. In comparison, I feel less of a person than they clearly are doing. First of all, let's pause that for a moment. You know, one of my favorite sayings, I have a lot of sayings because I'm African, number one, and our first language, the universal language of Africa, it's not English, it's not French, it's not Dutch or Belgian. The universal language of Africa is Proverbs. And Proverbs is the tongue in which we speak in. So if you've met someone that maybe has got some of this on their chin, or someone that's a little lived in any of the 54 African countries, their first language is Proverbs. And that's what we speak in. And one of my favorite is comparison is the thief of joy. Now, comparison is the thief of joy. What that means is if I'm looking over at you, I may be in £1 million house right now, but I'm looking over and I'm like, this person's house is 1.2 million. This person's car is bigger than mine. This person's wife is more gorgeous than mine. You know, and by looking at that, I am robbing myself of the joy that is my life. I am robbing myself of the many things that make me, me. This person has got a PhD and I've only got masters. Poor Nathaniel. This person has got 5 kids and I've only got 3. Poor Nathaniel. By doing that, I am minimizing, I am belittling, and I am disparaging my own successes. My own successes. I am looking down at what I've established. I'm looking down at the people that love me. I'm looking down at the people that value me or care about me because I'm looking elsewhere. And I feel, wow, that person is so far ahead of me. I feel like a failure right now. That person is so far ahead of me. However, am I going to catch up? So, how do we deal with that situation? Each and every one of you that's on here right now, I want you to ask yourself, what is your personal definition of success? What is your very personal? You don't have to share it, but you can if you want to. You can say it out loud. But I want you to think about that. Forget about the world, right? Let's pause it. Let's step away from everything else. Let's try and step away from all the things that we have been indoctrinated with for a moment. And let's think to ourselves, let's turn the light off. And in that moment, just speak to ourselves very, very intimately. What is my personal representation of success? Whatever that may be, what is yours? I don't want you to think about anything else. anything else. I want you in that moment, I want you to just close your eyes and try and find it. Let's just clear that out of the way. Let's clear images out of the way of TV or music or friends or jobs. No, the bank manager doesn't belong here. No. Let's clear that out of the way. No, the car salesman doesn't belong here. No. The Zara salesman doesn't belong here right now. No. And let's try and personally connect to what, for me, is success. Are you there? Sorry, I got comfortable in my own view, in my own world, in my own exploration. So in that moment, I want you to think about it. What is your definition of success? Because for me, all the things I've mentioned, it really isn't. I've got my own definition of success, and it's so personal because it's very specific to me. And what I mean by that is, if I described it, I'm not sure people understand the significance of it for me, because they're not me. Because they're not. So if they're not me, I need to define my own success. I need to define what for me, not for my mom, not for my friends, not for loved ones, but for me. And I'm working towards that. And the beautiful thing about it, every year or two, or sometimes 6 months, the goalpost changes a little bit. So I'm moving even towards a new goal, a new challenge, a new definition sometimes. But all of that determines on what would make me feel fulfilled. And my definition of success is a life of purpose. Not how many times I can smile and I can be happy, but that's just for me, is purpose. What can I achieve that I feel is purposeful? And it may seem like a very generic statement, but no. What for me, if I do it, is living a life of purpose. And that's what I aim, and that's what I try and do. And the reason why I started this live or the therapy hour is partly due to that. A feeling of, okay, how can I use the experience, the knowledge in a way that is not only about financial gain? How can I, in this current climate, maybe help a brother or two, or a sister or three? Whatever it is for you, your definition of what success is, write it down. Get a pen and paper, write it down right now. And that's what you're working towards. That's what your goal is. That's what your aim is. That's your mantra. That's your new bedtime buddy. Because that's what you're looking at. That is what you are not chasing, but working towards. So when you start looking over your shoulder and everybody walking by, oh, my friend he just got married. Oh, how nice. And I'm single. Oh, look, my friend has got 2 kids and I've got 0 right now. Oh, okay. I'm so happy for you. If having children are not part of my goals, I should not rob myself of my own joy, of who I am, of my own successes by looking over there. So ask yourself those questions. And if it fits into your success, work towards it. That's it. And from time to time, we're going to feel maybe I should be further in my life. Further where? When people talk about I should be further in my life, further where? Where is this race we're heading towards? Where is this race? We're all supposedly chasing the same thing. I don't know about you, but I'm not chasing anything that's not down on my set of goals. And if I do catch myself, because I'm not perfect, if I do catch myself in that situation when I'm looking elsewhere and I'm just longing for that life, I check myself. I pull myself back a little bit and say, hold on a minute. Whilst I'm going there, I need to look back and go, all right, you haven't done bad, baby. I call myself baby sometimes. Like I said, talk to yourself in a good way, in a positive way. Yeah, be your own baby. You haven't done bad, baby. Take a moment to explore that and stay back on track for you. All right, it's very easy right now because everything is being looked at as a sign of success, wealth, physical wealth, how attractive you are, how buff for guys, how buff you are, how strong looking you are. Not how strong you are, how strong looking you are. There's a difference there. And I think most of you know the difference there. We can look a certain way, but doesn't make it real. All right? So if you do notice yourself looking elsewhere and disparaging your own life that you've worked towards, you disparaging that unique thing that makes you you. Nobody else out of all the 7 point whatever billion people on earth have the exact same experience, the exact same knowledge, the exact same outlook and view and feelings like you. So before we disparage it, let's just try and connect back to it. Let's just try and ask ourselves, okay, it's me. How can I focus on myself without looking elsewhere? Let's take a moment to appreciate ourselves. Let's take a moment to appreciate one thing, and this may seem a little corny right now, and forgive me, but I don't really mind corny because corny is usually true, right? So, if you can, I want all of you, if you can, not forcing you. Yes, we all need a pet name for ourselves. All right. Whatever makes you smile, whatever emboldens you is a positive thing for me. So I want all of you right now, if you can, just to answer this question about being stuck in one place and feeling that everybody else is doing better than you. I want you to try and identify one thing about yourself, just one. I know a lot of you will have more than one, but right now I want you to identify one thing about yourself that you feel so positive about, that you feel, yes, I'm good at that. Or yes, I'm proud of myself for this. So go for it. Name one thing about yourselves that you feel proud about, proud of yourself. Not that other people are proud of you, but proud of yourself for. Go for it. I'll wait. Yeah? I can see the thumbs going. Yeah. So let's go for it. What thing you're proud of yourself? Because this is all part of our mental health check-in, right? It's not only looking at the negatives, it's about changing that frame a little bit. So by changing our frame, let's focus on what we can and what we do have in our lives, the positives going for us. So I'm going to type ahead and let me know. Brilliant question. Brilliant one. That you do not give up. Resilience. I love that. I call that resilience. That you do not give up. And look at that. This next line is, I'm proud that I've kept going and moving forward. Very in sync. I don't give up. I keep going. I have moments where I fall. I have moments where I cry. I have moments where I adapt myself when all the negativity comes in and slaps the hell out of me. Yes, I have those moments, but I don't give up. And by not giving up, you're allowing yourself an opportunity to deal with all the challenges again. Resilience. Kept moving forward. Oh, brilliant, Andrea. I'm adaptable to changes that come through my life. That is I'm not sure if you realize this, but that is a superpower. So I said, well, what's your superpower? I adapt to changes. That is the superpower of human beings, of any living creature, that we can adapt to our surroundings, to our different situations. That to me tells me that you're going to do all right. Because no matter what comes in, you find your core, you find your safe space, and you can adapt to that situation. Definitely. That's one of my favorites as well, being able to adapt to certain changes. Something I keep working on. I have to keep checking myself, because if I take my eye off the ball, whoo. Daisy, that you persevere. Yes, you don't give up. That you keep moving forward. That you persevere. Resilience. I'm smelling resilience in the air. Okay, we've got here working towards the kingdom of God. That is your focus. That is your aim. Because what that means for me when I'm reading that is you're working towards a better world, a better you. Trying to do good in the world. Be empathic. Be charitable. Be generous. Be loving. Definitely. Now imagine feeling that way about yourself. That's a positive. I don't need to look left or right, because I know what my goal is. We've got here fatherhood. Yes. No matter what happens, no one can take that away from you. You are always going to be a father. You're always going to connect to what that means for you. And what that means for you could be, I am responsible for another human life. Another person entrusts me enough to follow me, and I become their guide in this thing called life. I feel like now I'm here because I have got people to look out for, someone to look out for. Yes. So when you do have those moments when you're looking elsewhere or whatever, I want you to look at that and go, yes, I am responsible for this life. Not only by virtue of biology, but by virtue of my behavior, by virtue of my nurturing, my love, my affection, sacrifices. Yes, I love that. Being supportive. Being proud of yourself that it's not only about me, but about others as well. That I look to help others. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing to hold on to. When I'm looking elsewhere or you're looking elsewhere, hold on to that. That actually, I am being supportive. I am helping others. Purposeful existence. Definitely. Comment there. I'm proud of myself because I feel I'm doing well as a single parent. Well, if your child was here, I think your child would not say, I think your child would speak more effusively about you as a parent. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thing. You are responsible, very similar to, fatherhood. We're talking about motherhood. We're talking about being a parent. We are talking about nurturing another life. And one of the things I say to my clients a lot of the times are, because when we do explore issues in sessions, I go real deep into sessions. And one of the things I do talk about with my clients are, when we are children, and I'm sure I've mentioned it here as well, we look at our parents like gods. Because they nurture us, they provide, they support, they teach, we look up to them. So by virtue of you being a good parent, you've been a good God, a good guardian for that person. We've got here one of the things you're proud of is being able to multitask and compartmentalize. Easy with the word. I like that word, compartmentalize. I have to have a tongue surgery after pronouncing that. Yes, your ability to be able to deal, what I'm reading is to be able to deal with a lot of things. But I want you to remember to take time for yourself. I want you to remember that as strong as you feel, the strongest need that time to soothe themselves, to check on themselves, to look after themselves without the burden of responsibilities, without the burden of what other people may look at us as. But yes, to be able to do that is brilliant. Now, I see there being proud of the friendships you have. Being proud of the friendships, for me, what that means is, I don't know what it means for you, but for me, is that I am able to cultivate a brotherhood, a sisterhood of trust, of love, of support, of value. And as a human being, we are social creatures. As much as sometimes we like to self-isolate or being forced to isolate, we're social creatures. Similarly to horses, you know, when a horse is by itself and is left there by itself, they go stir crazy. They're very communal, and we human beings are as well. So to be able to cultivate that says a lot about you, that you're loyal, that you value others, that you're there for others, that you love others, and you allow yourself to be loved back. And that's a beautiful thing to have and hold on to. So when we think and we start saying all the things that we're positive, or we feel good, or we're proud of ourselves for, it kind of stops us from looking across the fence at others' lives and how brilliant they're doing because they've got 2 cars instead of 1. Or are they doing because they just got a promotion in this job that they may be happy or not happy in. But we don't care. In that situation, we're not looking at the context of it. We're not so nuanced in our admiration. We're just looking at, they've got this, I haven't got this, ergo, I am a failure. So it's very important for us to focus on what is important by you asking yourself those questions and answering it right back. What am I proud of myself for? Is it a mother? Is it a child? Is it a father? Is it a friend? Or am I proud of myself for surviving all the knocks that life had the audacity to throw my way? Whatever it may be, by focusing on that, you are now valuing yourself. Think about that for a moment. All the people that have typed the things they're proud of themselves for right now, if you take a moment to look at that, you are proud of yourself and you are now valuing something about yourself rather than looking elsewhere to see what somebody else has that I don't. So I want you to take a moment to practice gratitude. And gratitude is not one of those things that I'm trying to be judgmental. I'm telling you, you should be grateful. You should be this. You should be that. I don't like the word should. But by practicing gratitude is a great strategy for good mental health. How? We've all just done it right now. Now, if I asked you, how did it feel typing that out? What was the effect on yourselves after you typed it out and you saw it written right there? What did it feel like thinking about it? Like, you know what? I'm proud of myself as a father. I'm proud of myself as a single mother. I'm proud of myself as a good, supportive friend. I'm proud of myself for being resilient, never giving up, keep moving forward. I'm proud of myself for these things. How did it feel in that situation? How did it feel? Let me know how it felt for you practicing that exercise. Yeah. Adapting to change. Fulfilling. Felt good. Yes. that is a brilliant strategy in order for us to check in on our mental health. Regularly check in on yourself, on your own mental health, and then you'll be able to determine how something felt. All right? Thank you for the ones that sent in the question first of all, but also the ones participating in that exercise. I didn't want to announce it like a big thing, but I wanted you to immerse yourself and explore it. So when we look at those things right now, maybe I'm not such a failure as I thought I was. And I want you to continue that exercise. When this is over, make a list of the things you're proud of. You can even go more in depth than right now. Write it down. Explain it. You can even go into a situation, an event that occurred, and you're like, wow, I did that. Not bad. Because if somebody else did those things, you'll be lauding them. You'll be looking at them like, wow. Wow. I want you to wow yourself. Right? So what have we learned so far? That it's good to give each other, yourselves, pet names. So when we do have that conversation with ourselves, we have a pet name for ourselves. It has to be positive. That's the whole point. I want us to talk to ourselves like kings and queens. Doesn't mean that you can't challenge yourself. Challenge yourself. But I want you to be able to talk to yourself in a positive way. I want you to be able to ask yourself the question. If you've erred, if you've upset someone, or you're wrong and strong, right? You're wrong and strong. I don't care what. Yeah. Have a quiet moment with yourself. Have a conversation with yourself. Baby, why did you do that? Come on. You know you overreacted. Yeah, but how would it feel if they did that to you? Yeah. Check in on yourself. So we talked about pet names and also practicing gratitude. Listing things we're proud of ourselves. Listing things that others in your circle would actually say about you, but you don't realize. Others will say that, and I had this years ago. I was feeling low. I was feeling down. I was having what may be described as a depressive period in my life. And unbeknownst to me, I was the light for others. I was the light for another person in particular that shared it with me. And the person shares that, you know what? I really, really think you're brilliant. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I don't feel brilliant right now. And by talking to that person, they listed points in which I had disregarded or I wasn't even thinking about myself. I was more focused on the doldrums and the negativity that was going through me at that moment. I didn't even have time or the fortitude for me to look at some of the things in which this other person saw that I, in that moment, didn't. So take a moment to value yourself, to praise yourself, to even rebuke yourself when you know you're wrong. I want you to get to a point where you trust yourself so much you'll be able to listen to yourself. So yes. The last question, and I think I touched on it a little bit, and the last question came in is, how can I cope with emotions or drowning in emotions and not knowing what is real and what is not? All I know is that I'm feeling low. All I know is that my emotions are overwhelming me. All I know is that right now, it's just a whirlwind. Good question. Brilliant question. The reason why it's a brilliant question is because this person doesn't know the answer or how to deal with it. So any question is brilliant if you don't know the answer to it. If you don't know how to solve it, how to resolve it, how to deal with it, and you're asking that question, that's a brilliant question. So this person is talking about feeling overwhelmed, feeling stressed, feeling the emotions just going all over the place. As I stated a little bit earlier, I want you to check and challenge those emotions. How true and how real is this? What is exactly happening right now? I feel my friends don't love me. Challenge that thought, that feeling. I feel like I'm a failure. Challenge that. In what way? How? I feel like I'm not going to find love, or I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do that. Challenge those emotions. That feeling, I feel down, I feel sad right now. We're all allowed to feel sad. I'm not saying anytime you feel that sad, you're like, no, I can't feel sad. Sadness is it's a natural feeling. It is. Happiness, sadness, joy. I like that name, joy. I've always liked that name. Anyway, where was I? Happiness, sadness, whatever it may be, I want you to question it. Challenge it. Challenge it. I am feeling low right now. Why am I feeling low right now? What is going on for me? What is going on for me? Write it down. I have one of these little pads. I love this one. I have one of these little pads where you can just check yourself. Check yourself regularly. Nobody else is here. It's just me and you, Nathaniel. Not like literally, I'm just looking at myself right now, guys. So check yourself and ask yourself those questions. What's going on for you right now? And I do that regularly. Yes, joy. I do that regularly. That's a little bit of a personal insight joke there. But I do it regularly. I check myself. I ask myself that question. What is going on for me right now? Why am I feeling this way? Is this a valid emotion? If it is, in what way? And how can I better manage it? How can I better deal with it? How can I better explore it? And I want you to build that relationship with yourself when you can tell yourself the honest truth. I'm feeling crap about myself right now because I didn't get that job. And the negative thoughts are coming in thinking, am I going to get any job? Or I'm feeling low about myself because of me being lonely right now and not having a relationship. And I feel like, oh, am I going to find love? Is somebody going to love me? Question that. You already loved. So that doubt of, is anybody going to love you? Well, you've already got the answer to that. You're already loved by many people that know you and value you. So it's coming to the end of today's therapy hour. Thank you everyone that's joined in. Thank you everyone for being open and honest enough to be able to exchange and interact in the exercise that I mentioned that we went through. For next week, we'll be here again, 2 p.m. Not going anywhere. Everything's still locked down, right? So I'm going to be here next week, in which we're going to be exploring a new topic. All right? That is my alarm telling me, okay, it's coming to the end. I don't want to cut it off so quickly. So what we do in sessions, in live sessions, is I summarize at the end of all my sessions with my clients. So today we're talking about how can we look after ourselves. I've gone through the questions in which was sent to me. When I feel I'm checking somebody else, or I'm valuing somebody else, how can I better deal with that? I'm also looking at how can I deal with emotions? How can I regularly ask myself, are these emotions true? We've established that comparison is a thief of joy. We've established that, you know what, we can give each other pet names. We've established that we can value ourselves, we can show gratitude, because gratitude is one of my strategies for good mental health. So thank you all very much for joining me. If it's your first time, welcome to the village. All right, you're all welcome. Next week, I'll see you at 2 p.m. I'll send something out this week to let know what we're going to talk about. If you want to ask any questions, let me know. Take care. Have a great week.